Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. It's half-time. Feyenoord 1, Celtic 2. So, Ryan, my prediction is blown completely out the water. Yours is still technically on, but I'm kind of hoping it doesn't come to fruition now that we've got that.
Same.
We are joined at half-time by Stephen Ray. Obviously, we have Ryan Pierce from earlier and myself, Double Denim, in the hot seat today. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Cheers.
An interesting first half, if not one necessarily blessed with a huge amount of quality throughout, but a few big moments. What have you made of it?
I thought we started well, and then I thought, oh, here we go, same old Celtic away from home in Europe. But we seem to get control again. I think we've been our own worst enemies at times in that first half. You know, giving the ball away a couple of times, couple of slack passes. I think we struggled a wee bit with that cross ball to the right winger. I think KT was really up against it with that guy, but you know, the turnaround's been unbelievable. I think it's been quite apart from a few moments giving the ball away in daft areas or getting too many people getting caught up the park, I think it's been quite a mature and controlled performance. It's so night and day for Denmark. It's unbelievable.
Yep, absolutely. Ryan,
I was going to say, Hatate's found his inner Modric tonight. Where the hell has that came from?
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. But before we do that, Ryan, I just got to ask: are you in the Yang gang?
I mean, if he keeps on playing like this, yes. I mean, I goes back to my earlier statement: is what is he being asked to do? And there was one moment in the game where earlier on, I think this is when his confidence started getting up. This is, I think we were 1-0 down at the time. And he just had the ball and the corner was open and just kept on going, kept on running, did a little move. And I mean, he's got pace. He's got a little bit of trickery. So tell him to go and do that. And once it comes off, you know, I was a little bit of a winger myself. And you beat a player once, you get a little bit of confidence. You want to do it again. You want to do it again. So it's nice to see him kind of push there. So I just want to see it consistently. But I mean, so far it's been encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about the first goal then, the goal that we concede. Stephen, I think you made a good point. I think we've been kind of our own worst enemy. You know, a lot of the failings we've seen during the match have been largely of our own making, you know, inability to play a short pass accurately, maybe getting muscled off the ball and getting caught up the park too much. There's been kind of two schools of thought about the goal that we lose. One is that Kieran Tierney, I think, tries to play the offside, doesn't get it right, and he's then on the back foot trying to catch up. But I think, you know, I'm also looking at the positioning of Austin Trusty, who's so far out of position. And when you consider that the player who eventually scores and is completely unmarked as a player who I think scored about 13 goals this season in Ueda, you know, very prominent. Prolific striker, clearly very dangerous. He's shown some flashes of that tonight and took his goal exceptionally well. But it's those. Were we just playing too far forward? Did we just get caught out with a quick counter? You know, and did we learn from that going forward? Do you think?
I think we were pressing pretty well early on with the three front guys, but that seemed to be the only time we didn't press, and the guy just had all the time in the world to sort of dink it over the Scales and KT, but I don't know what Trusty was doing there. It was only in the shot from behind the goal that it showed how far up. So I don't know if he was of a mind to start pushing because he thought the guy was maybe going to come into midfield. He was going to meet him halfway. But obviously the guy's seen but for me, I think it's on KT and Scales. It's the ball's landed at their end. It's fell in behind them. You know, you're gonna get a guy coming in and tapping it in. You're always going to be up against it. But the ball's been switched, and it's been switched a few times to that way. So it's not as if we didn't know it was coming. And they've done it a few times since. So I think there's potentially a few people to blame, but for me, you've got to stop it at source. We never pressed. We never put pressure on the ball, and the guys had all the time in the world to pick his pass.
Yeah, absolutely. We did, so we got a goal down. You're thinking, oh, where are we going from here? But actually, Brian, we showed pretty good resilience to come back. You know, we've seen in the past, and even earlier this season, we've seen at times, you know, the team crumble when they lose a goal. You know, start to make a lot of silly mistakes. The heads will go down. It looks as though the mentality or the mental strength of it, or as Big Yogi likes to coin, the testicular fortitude, you know, isn't necessarily there. But actually, we stuck with it. And one of the players that we spoke about in the pre-match, Luke McCowan, who's playing on the right-hand side, he's kind of playing as I don't know if you call him a right winger, or if he's just playing as a wide midfielder at the moment. It looks almost like a flat four. But he did, he was very instrumental in our equaliser. Plays a wonderful ball up to Rio Hatate. Hatate makes a fantastic run. I actually thought he'd blown the chance for the cross. When he kind of hooks the cross up, I thought, oh my God, what's he doing? Because I thought there's no way Maeda's getting on the end of that. And then, Yang, that's not an easy finish. Going at the pace he was going at to meet that ball and play that in. And it was a fantastic goal. And we seemed to get that confidence from that, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think I've been screaming at this with how we've been playing, with Brendan, and then when the change to Martin O'Neill, I've noticed a major change in just us playing more balls over the top, playing that runner a little bit more, which is great. I mean, we do have pace up front, so why not go at it? And that confidence that we got from there, I just saw it building and building and building, and I saw a moment in the first half where I was like, after we conceded and we weren't yet kind of playing to our strengths, when McGregor was pointing where Scales and where Trusty should be passing the ball and kind of shadowing that, and I was just going, this is going straight back to where we were with the horseshoe of death, and just like, you go that way. And then when we started picking up the pace a bit, started playing longer balls, started going at the team, he stopped doing it. And it's so funny how much for me that's a proxy for how we're approaching the game. If we're just holding on to the ball and doing things very safe, you see Calmac pointing around telling people where to go. And now that beautiful ball over the top, they're showing the replay right now on my other screen. That's the type of thing we need to do to kind of put teams in the back foot, cause a little bit of chaos. This is not the Feyenoord team I've seen over the last few years. This is definitely, you can tell they're in a place of decline. Yes. I agree that we've been our own worst enemy, and if we concede again, I don't think it's going to come from their brilliance. I think it's going to come from a mistake that we make. So if we can tighten that up and then put them in the back foot, because they're prone to be making mistakes as well. Let's have them have the pressure. Let's have them need to be perfect in the back line. Let's force them to make the mistakes and not put so much pressure on ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. And following that goal, Stephen, we did actually see exactly what Ryan's talking about there. We were on the ascendancy, we were pressing, we looked quite confident. Then we made a couple of mistakes, slack passes, a couple of players guilty of that. And suddenly we're giving Ueda a chance to have a shot. And given how dangerous he's looked, we don't want to be giving him too many opportunities. With that said, we go up the pitch. We utilise some of the assets that Ryan talks about there, the pace that we've got. If we get balls forward, we've got guys who will run and put the defenders under pressure, the centre-backs. Maeda's been trying to do that tonight. And then he puts the keeper under pressure, and we force the keeper into a mistake. And what a daisy cutter from Rio Hatate on a wet pitch to hit that. Despite the commentator giving it as a second Yang goal, I mean, it was a tremendous bit of skill from Rio Hatate, wasn't it? And something we just haven't seen enough of that from Rio Hatate this season.
How often have goalkeepers get away with the Maeda press where he's just, as I think they say in America, a day late and a dollar short. He's come up so close, but I think it's one of the first times I can remember that he's actually caused a goal with that sort of closing down. But you were just mentioning a minute ago, there's an old Glasgow saying, it felt like we were getting a bit gallus. We got it back to 1-1. It felt as if, we were, it all became a bit too easy. We were in possession, we were knocking the ball about, and then Maeda tries some backflip, which led to them getting back in, back into the game. But, I made the mistake of looking at my watch. A message came up from the WhatsApp saying yes. So it happened about 5 seconds before. So I knew something was coming. But it's an unbelievable finish on taking it first time. I knew it was Hatate. I could tell just by the position where he take up. Because it looks like we're playing a 4-4-2 almost.
Yes.
I know you've mentioned McCowan playing almost like a wide right midfield. But... and McGregor and Engels playing as two sitters almost. But obviously Maeda's pressing the keeper and harassing the centre-backs with Hatate sort of just hovering just behind. So it's an unbelievable close down. It's an unbelievable finish. It's a horror show from the goalkeeper. But now we're in the lead. I think moving into the second half, we don't have to force it. So we shouldn't be making the same kind of mistakes, trying to force the game. We can let them come on to us, but just don't go into the mistake of dropping too deep, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair comment. I mean, In terms of the various individual performances, Ryan, is there anyone stood out for you in that first half? Anyone you think was having a particularly good game, and anyone you think maybe they're having a little bit of a shaky game, need to up it in the second half?
I've seen flashes from players, and I've seen probably a bit more consistent good moments towards the latter part of the second half from Hatate and even from Yang. But there's still moments that I'm not, I still get worried. So that's why I'm saying, like, I want to go into this half, just tighten things up a bit, play a little bit more crisper passing. I feel like Scales hasn't been to the level of consistency that I've noticed when we watched the highlights of that first goal. I mean, it's a little bit of he's having to cover for Trusty being so high up the pitch, but the run of the striker who ended up scoring, like he got dummied by that run, created that open space to kind of come in behind. So I'm not necessarily going to hold that against him. He was covering the space, but I haven't seen enough in terms of someone is there saying that they are consistently playing well the entire time. They have shown flashes and moments, and I want to take those flashes and moments of the positive and get rid of the negative. And for me too, I want to see a little bit more from Angles. If he can harness whatever skill he's developed, to which he can hold up the ball and draw a foul in our own half, which he does. I think he's the Pele of doing that. If he can transfer that into something else, then he can be a class footballer. It's one of the things that every single time he has the ball, and I know he's going to draw that foul. So I just want to see more out of him and have him contribute a little bit more to the game, because I think there's been moments where I forget he's on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I was one of the players I noted midway through the first half. I was looking to see a little bit more. I think he grew into the first half a little bit more. Was playing in better positions. I can think we've got a few minutes left. Let's see if we can get some of the comments in here. John McVeigh coming in to say, Martin O'Neill. I'm not going to sing the song, but I think you know where I'm coming from. John Brown comes in to say, looked like KT got it wrong for the goal. I think that there's merit in that. A few people, I think, pointing out the fact that Luzo tried to play the offside, but didn't. Ryan, Celtic boy, comes in to say McGregor needs to break out the horseshoe effect, put him more forward when he scores. Yeah, I think we spoke about that in the pre-match. I do think that McGregor, benefits from playing more advanced. Ulster boy comes in to say, I'd rather Martin O'Neill stay this season. Well, I think some people are of that opinion, but it's a lot to ask of Martin O'Neill at this stage in his career. But he's certainly showing that he's having some positive effect in the team. And let's see this comment. If I can bring it in. Daniel Farry, big Johan. I've not heard what Johan's saying, Danielle, so I'll need to check that out. Mark Aitchison comes in, come on Celtic, keep it tight, be disciplined, and wait for the quick break in the second half. You got this, boys. I'm liking the positivity. It's always nice after such a tough week in terms of off the field stuff to actually have something positive to talk about in terms of the team being on the front foot and in front on Europe. But big half coming up. Stephen, what do we need to do in the second half to see this over the line?
Pretty much what we have been doing, just cut out the loose passing. There was one with Scales in the first half. He's went across the sort of halfway line with a pass that was short. I don't try it and fancy, and don't have so many people pushing up. I don't think, because we get caught with that one on Maeda. I think we only really had. I think everyone was actually in the Feyenoord half at that point, apart from Schmeichel. So just a bit more control
up top as well, aren't they? They've got a bit of pace to run up top.
A bit more control. This team looks as if they can be got at. It's just picking your moments, I think.
Yep.
So.
Bit of discipline, bit of tactical discipline.
Yeah, I would be absolutely gutted if we lost the game from here. I think we look as if we. I think I'm not saying we're going to win. I think we're good enough to come out of this, unscathed. Let's say.
Well, myself and Ryan both predicted scoring draws pre-match, so I'm going to put you on the spot then, Stephen. Give us your second half prediction. Can we do it?
I'm going to go 3-2 Celtic as the kick-off. So yeah.
Ryan, your prediction is still active. Mine's is blown out of the water, so yours is still active. You're going to go for stick with your 2-2?
I'm just going to keep it I'm not going to mess around with it.
Well, I think one thing we can say is the performance has certainly shown elements of promise. So fingers crossed the boys can do it in the second half. Thank you very much, everybody. Over 1,500 strong on the live stream for half time. We will be back at full time to try and break down what we hope will be a positive result for the Hoops in Europe, and it'd be great to have an away win to celebrate. So fingers crossed we can do it. Thanks everyone. Stephen, thanks for coming on and joining us. We'll see you at full time. Same to yourself, Ryan. Really appreciate it. Thanks everyone. On the Hoops. This has been a Celtic State of Mind.
Cheers.